Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Manchester City completed another game against Chelsea last night, winning 4-0 in the FA Cup, and it was a wonderful, most needed and enjoyable game of football. There was plenty of talking points, so today I'm going to go through five things that I took from that game, and hopefully you find it interesting, fun, and all that kind of stuff. To hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. As you can see on the live count right there, honestly, you can press subscribe and it goes up live on the video. If you can see that, I need 100 more subscribers to get to 65,000, so we can do it. Let's do it very, very soon. Please hit that subscribe button and, of course, give this video a like. Help support the channel. Help support a lifelong Manchester City fan. You know, you're one of us. You're a blue. You're a Bert. Do it for us. So today, yeah, we're going to talk about that game a little bit more. Of course, there is always plenty more talking points. This is just 5 things that I thought were particularly interesting to take from this game. If you want to see a more in-depth discussion, go and watch the match reaction from last night. There's loads more talking points than that, of course, but these are the big headlines that I wanted to talk about because he was a... Someone unsubscribed, you bastards. Get it back up again. How dare you? That was badly timed. Either way, yeah, this is going to be hopefully a fun video. I mean, I enjoyed last night's game. I really did. I thought it was much needed. It was a bit of a refresh actually because there was some doubts about City's football recently, and this to me, thank you. It's come back up again. Yay! And this answered some questions. I will jump straight into it. And the first place I want to start, as is the title of this video, is Foden's central promise. There was promise in Phil Foden's performance down the middle. Now, I'm not going to say, by the way, it was a special performance through the middle. It wasn't a special one, and it wasn't an incredible one or anything like that, but was it a good one? Yes, it was. And was it encouraging? Yes, it was. And did it hint at a potential future for Phil Foden as a central player? Yes, in my opinion, it did, and that's why I was personally encouraged by it. Phil Foden, there still is ways for him to develop playing through the middle, though admittedly, that's only going to happen if he actually gets a chance to play through the middle regularly. Like, I want him to control the ball a little bit more, maybe show for it a tiny bit, because he didn't always get on the ball, but you can clearly see the impact he can have creatively with his lovely, wonderful technique. Ruben's in the chat, my little boy Ruben. Ruben is a good luck charm. He is indeed. I should have put that, but he was a good luck charm. He was beautiful. Hi to everyone in the chat, by the way. It's good to see you all here. But yeah, for me, Foden, you can see what he could bring. Of course, he has that hunger for goals and that wonderful technique to be in the right place at the right time. And to me, that's really encouraging. And you can see his intensity in the way that he presses. And you can see that creativity as well, how he really wants to press and really wants to make things happen. And the really thing I enjoyed was his little flicks and tricks here and there. Now, City haven't been an expressive, creative team for a while, really, I would say, in terms of enjoying their football. And Foden playing through the middle, I like to think he brought that out of others, because Foden wants to get forward and wants to make magic happen. You could see him really express himself last night and really try and get City playing with a little bit of joy in their football, and to me, I enjoyed it. Now, Phil Foden, of course, he's not been in the team for a few games properly, and there has been implications that maybe something hasn't been right in the world of Foden and Guardiola. I don't know. It's probably just speculation or whatever. But what I do know is that Phil Foden, in my personal opinion, is too good to not be playing very, very regularly for Manchester City Football Club. And I want to see him on the pitch an awful lot more, and maybe at some point in the future through the middle. I do think there's plenty more for his game to develop. I do think in general he's got to learn how to control the ball a tiny bit better and dictate the play a tiny bit more. But once again, you've really got to give him time there. The one thing Foden does have, he can really go through the gears so quickly. He can go from 0 to 100 so fast. Of course, Guardiola every now and then wants him to play at 50, not 0 or 100. He wants to be able to slow things down and manipulate time and space. And he's not Doctor Strange, crying out loud, but you know what I mean? Manipulate a few things and whatever, but really kind of take hold of a game. But we know he has a technical ability with his crossing, his passing, his finishing, his dribbling. He absolutely can do it. And he's so young still that we just have to give him a little bit of time, gentle pushes in the right direction, and fingers crossed we can see the best of Phil Foden, because he's too much talent there. There's too much talent. Second thing that we took from the game, it isn't unfortunately that Ruben's good luck charm, sorry to my son in the chat, which is obviously the wife, is that Mahrez is truly back to his best form. And Mahrez wasn't in his best form. He wasn't in his best form at the start of the season. Guardiola came out and said his shape and conditioning wasn't very good and he wasn't playing at his very best. But Mahrez recently has really, he's found his best form, and it's exciting to watch when Mahrez is flying like that. He was great yesterday. He was the best player on the pitch. Absolutely wonderful. He played like a leader, played like a senior member of the team. And I really enjoyed the creativity for which Mahrez played. Of course, Mahrez has always been a goal threat. 24 goals was it last season? Won every other game. 24 in 47 appearances, I think it was. Mahrez has always been a great goal scorer. But you want him sometimes to take the lead as well. And with those big moments. When you're a team like Manchester City and teams defend against you, every now and then you will need a moment of magic. And that free kick, of course, a wonderful free kick. Genuinely beautiful. And of course, a penalty as well. But more than that, Mahrez was involved in so much creatively. He was getting on the ball. He was drifting central every now and then. He was showing for it. He was really trying to run at his fullback. He was a bit more aggressive than he has been for the start of the season. And that's what you want to see from Mahrez. Like, just find that intensity to his game. Now, I did think he was showing signs of aging a little bit, but do you know what? I'm a fucking idiot, so ignore me. It looks like he's found a little bit more of it, that intensity again. Maybe it was just a fitness thing. Maybe it was a confidence thing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was a form thing. Who knows? But either way, Mahrez right now is great. And we need it because Mahrez at his very best is box office. Mahrez comes alive sometimes in winter when he's, when City need him and we need to score some goals. Mahrez can be absolutely key for this team. And a performance like that last night, you want to see more of it. Because as Beppe just said in the comments, his first touch is unreal. It is. And as Shaquille Smith pointed out, by the way, in the comments about Foden, David Silva started as a winger, so maybe there is time. It's very true. But yeah, as Cameron said, Mahrez is doing everything right at the moment. He really is, man. And I enjoyed it. Like, Mahrez has reached the point of his career where he has to be the man that we lean on here. He has to be. And he nearly got a hat-trick as well, as Lazuli said in the comments. He was inches away with a lovely drive and then a curling effort from long range. It was a wonderful performance. But then again, it was Mahrez versus Chelsea, which pretty much always happens. Mahrez steps up in these games, and last night he was absolutely wonderful. The third thing that I took from this was that we had actual fullback with this money. Kyle Walker. Kyle was excellent last night. He had a really ropey performance in the game prior to that against Chelsea, but last night he was excellent again, and he looked like a fullback that we hadn't seen for a while, actually. It wasn't the inverted fullback or anything like that. Though, of course, he still did a little bit of that. It's a Guardiola team after all. But there was actual width from Kyle Walker and, of course, Sergio Gomez. I'm going to talk both about them a little bit. But the effect it had on Manchester City's game to have actual width was so liberating. I really enjoyed it. It felt like there was a versatility and a variety to Manchester City's attacking. Like, we got forward and there was overlaps. Gomez was overlapping Palmer or Foden if he drifted that way. Kyle Walker, of course, for Phil Foden's goal, went on that wonderful, powerful inside run using his pace, which he did a couple of times, by the way, in the game, to get past Mahrez. That pace is still there. That physicality clearly is. And, of course, he got the assist. Kyle Walker, at one point, was known for being an attacking fullback. He was. At Spurs, he would burst forward and overlap. And he's such a physical specimen that it's almost a shame not to use that side to his game. And it really, really enjoyed it. It really did. And and that's what I want to see more of at City. I don't mind the inverted fullback thing every now and then, but sometimes you just need someone who's going to get to the touchline. We saw Gomez at one point beat his man and get a crossing over on the wide. And I thought Gomez had a good game. Yes, there are still question marks about Gomez's defensive capabilities. I'm not going to sit here and pretend there isn't. But I'm not going to sit here and say there's no talent either. Gomez showed that clearly he's a talented young footballer with loads to improve, of course, but the guy's clearly got potential, and he's clearly good in games like this. And even if he isn't the finished product, you can see what his skill set potentially brings to Manchester City Football Club. Like, when you've got a left footer on the left side and a right foot on the right side and they're willing to overlap the wingers, it does create problems. It does let the gifted wide playmakers drift inside a little bit. It does make it harder to defend against. I think it's unquestionable. Like, when you've got that natural width, it just feels so much more natural. And Gomez, you could tell his instinct was to get out wide and put a cross in. You could tell Walker wanted to overlap last night. And to me, when you play with genuine width, when you play with that freedom, it does make a difference. Of course, I'm not saying that, a lack of not having inverted fullbacks is the way. It does help every now and then, but look, it's not complicated, is it? Spread the pitch. There's more space in the middle. It's really that simple. And Guardiola knows it. I'm not calling him an idiot. He obviously knows that. I'm not teaching him how to suck eggs because Guardiola is the greatest, in my opinion, in the world. But he obviously takes a compromise or a risk or does it a different way. But I do think sometimes we should probably be a little bit more willing just to do it the old-fashioned way. put a left foot on the left, a right foot on the right, spread the pitch a little bit, and look what happens. You get that freedom. Guys, let's get the likes up on the video as we're doing this. Please do hit the like button if you want to help support the channel. It is massively appreciated. On to the next thing I learned from this game. No KDB and Erling, no problem. Controversial. Now, I'm not for one saying that these two are the cause of Manchester City problems. I'm not a fucking idiot. They are not. They are wonderful, world-class players. But what we did see is that we aren't reliant on these two, and that, to me, is a very encouraging observation. I actually don't agree that we can't play football with Erling Haaland the way that we did last night. I think that's nonsense. I think there's a temptation to oversimplify reasons, and I think the reason City played well last night was not because Alvarez was playing and Haaland wasn't. I think it was because we played with width, we played with a different dynamic, and we played with players who can press and run with energy. I don't think it was because Haaland wasn't playing. Like that goal that Foden scored, for example, Alvarez isn't involved in that goal. I don't think he even touches the ball, does he? So how could we turn around and say that's on Haaland not playing? That was because of the natural shape of the team. That was because we had Foden left central midfield, we had Palmer as a left footer, Gomez as a left footer, we had Mahrez with Walker willing to overlap him. We had all that basically. Those things are nothing to do with a centre forward. That is a very different fullback and midfield dynamic. If you have a different dynamic, you will play different football. And to me, that was an indication that we can play differently. But I don't think necessarily that's impossible with Haaland. It is possible to do it with Haaland. We saw some of the best football this season against United when Haaland was in the team, and it was great counter-attacking football, and it was really, really encouraging. But I do think there is some credibility to the suggestion that potentially when these two are on the pitch, and look at them, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, we can maybe lean on them, get the ball out to KDB, let him spam crosses. I think that's absolutely fine because it works, but they can maybe, possibly, and I could be wrong, there could maybe possibly be a slight over-reliance on that tactic. But in general, I think maybe we just need to be a little bit aware of that tendency because, look, when you've had so much joy with something, it doesn't matter what it is, football, it could be video games, it could be what you do at work. And if one thing is bringing you so much joy, the temptation, if you get a problem, is to try that thing over and over again. But the solution isn't always going to be the same thing. And I do think sometimes it's very much like we need to go, KDB to Haaland works really well, just give the ball to him. There's a tendency maybe to feel that might be the idea. So basically, it's not a Haaland thing. I think the football's good. I think it's a tendency to oversimplify a football, and because the players need to know not to do that. And I think in general, I don't think it's Haaland's fault. I think we can play that football, and it's not Haaland's fault if we give the ball to KDB and he just tries to whip a cross in. I think Kev and City should be encouraged to make less crosses, actually, and play the football like we did last night. But I do think also a big reason why that worked and the football was so good was because of the final thing I'll talk about. We played football with intensity again. We played it with creativity. We saw an aggressive press. Now, Haaland can press, by the way. He can. He has the physicality. He's not Alvarez level pressing, but he can do. And we know Foden can. Bernardo can. And we know we can have that. In general, City played last night with a little bit more of aggression. Maybe it was a little bit loose, but we played with a little bit more of a risk. We pressed really high up the pitch. Gomez, Walker, Rodri were pressing very high up the pitch. And even though that's slightly risky, there was a little bit less caution in the team, and I think as a result, it paid off. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed City being a little bit more reckless, throwing a little bit more caution to the wind. And every now and then, you've got to do that, in my personal opinion. Doesn't matter who's on the pitch. We know they can do it. We know KDB can press too. He can do. I watched him City play with 10 men against Fulham, and KDB was everywhere on the pitch. Maybe not every single week, but it's possible to mix it up, and it's possible that we should mix our styles up every now and then because it is genuinely a thing, man. It's a different thing, and there are many different ways to play football. As John just said, it's not that KDB and Haaland is a problem, it's a different tool. Can't use a wrench when you need a screwdriver. Sometimes you can. This guy, by the way, Alvarez, he's excellent, isn't he? We know he's brilliant. I mean, I love him. I love the fact that we've got him. I mean, he's a goal game player as well, isn't he? Let's be honest. If he starts every week, he probably scores every single week. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that is the quality that Alvarez has got. I mean, I do hope we see a lot more of him. How do we make it happen? I don't know. Is it possible to get him and Vingy in the team at the same time? I don't know. Is it a good idea? I don't know. Will it happen? Probably. We will see. We will see. Of course, in the next round, we've got Arsenal or Oxford. or Oxford. It's going to be Arsenal, let's be honest. We can pretend if we want to, it'll be Oxford, but it's going to be Arsenal. Unless Arsenal make massive changes, you know. Have they? I don't even know. Have Arsenal made changes? Let me have a look. There could be a crazy upset. We've seen stranger things happen before. The lineup, Arsenal, are they going for it? What's the lineups? I had let's have a look. They've got for... Oh, it's a massive change team. Tomiyasu, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, Vieira, El Neni, Lukongo, Saka, Akantia, and Martinelli. It's still the strongest team. They'll win. They'll win. But either way... Owen Turner in goal. USA, baby. Yeah, indeed. So Arsenal are going to go through. But yeah, that's what I took from it. And what did you guys talk about? I'll go back for the start again. Of course, I talked initially at the start, if you just joined the video, about Foden's central promise. And there is loads of creativity that he can bring through the middle. And I really enjoyed that. I've talked a bit about Mahrez finding his best form. That's so crucial. Winter Mahrez, when he's got his gloves on, by the way, it just hits differently, doesn't it? It really does. I love Riyad in the winter. Like, he always tends to find his form when it gets going, especially in the latter round of the Champions Leagues. Fullback width, once again. I mean, this is what I'm on about. Like, when you've got Foden playing centrally, it's so different to Gundogan. When you've got the fullbacks playing wide, it's so different to Ake and Stones often. Ake or inverted Kyle Walker or even inverted Rico Lewis. How can we talk about Haaland when these are such fundamental changes the way how Manchester City play football? Of course, that all makes a difference. So, of course, no KDB early, no problem. But what we played last night is possible with those two. We've seen it possible. We've seen it before. So I don't think we should pretend it's on them for that reason. And of course, football with intensity again. Like, City were good, man. We were good. And of course, going into the Carabao Cup against Southampton, I do want to see City play, with a little bit more freedom, a little bit more creativity. I do want to see City go at Southampton again, maybe play a relatively similar line. And we probably could see, a little bit more magic potentially. Pete saying, as I said, with the chat there, said, as I mentioned yesterday, Foden has those little flicks and flair to play central, but he's very shifty in space like David Silva was. I loved seeing Foden try those little flicks. I mean, sometimes... I think that's one thing Manchester City lack every now and then. I've said it recently. We lack those vibes, that joy. And I think if you've got a team that's facing a low block every single week, you need something special or intuitive or a little bit different to break down a team like that. It's so hard to break through just a line of defenders that I do think you need those little bits of flair and magic. And Foden is so built that way. Foden wants to do something different. He wants to run past people. He wants to do a little overhead flick or whatever. Like, I want to see that. I want to see players encouraged to do that. Yes, it may lead to the odd turnover there, but over here or there. But ultimately, bravery, is rewarded more often than not in football. And I do think that's something we should encourage. John as well said, how do you think Jack would do in the midfield? I would love to see it. I would love to see it, John. I really would love to see it, mate. I think he's got loads of potential he could fit into the system. Hopefully we will see. I think Grealish could easily be a good central midfielder because he has the quality. But we know Foden can be. Foden, look, I do agree that Foden isn't quite the controller that Guardiola would want. He wants a more measured approach. But I think it's on Guardiola, in my personal opinion, to find that. Teach Foden how to do it by playing him there and telling him how to slow his game down. That kind of metronomic feel, the fast and slow and fast and slow. That's what the very best are good. I was watching a David Silva compilation recently, and you forget just how good he is at it. And Cameron said KDB turns over like a motherfucking midfield. He does, but plays in a pet midfield. Exactly. That's the thing for me. KDB gives the ball away so much, but we don't mind KDB giving the ball away so much. Why? Because he's so brilliant and so effective. I think, in his own way, Foden could be very similar, but I think he'd probably give the ball away less anyway. But let Foden ball, man. Let him try things. As long as he's in the right place, let him try a dribble through the centre. Let him try a flick past someone. Let him try a 1-2, because what's the difference in Foden giving the ball away from a dribble than KDB giving it away from a cross or a fail through ball? It's the same end product, but one's allowed to and one isn't, I would guess. Let it try it, man. Let it happen, because every now and then, you need it. You need special footballers to do special things. And the reason Phil Foden and Mahrez and all like that, the reason they're in the Manchester City team in the first place is because they've done special things. So encourage it. Let them find who they are, man. Let them do brave, wonderful things. Let Bernardo do brave, wonderful things. Bernardo's been wonderful, but he's definitely a little bit more of a water carrier these days. Let them find that joy again, because I do think joy in football is a big thing. I really do believe that, man. I do believe it. Like, that's how I feel. Like, be creative in the final third. I agree with, absolutely, mate. So he does it more often in the middle. And he does. Foden does it more in the middle because he's got a 360 vision of the pitch. When Foden gets out wide and he's got, one guy to beat, he's not really a get to the byline winger. So when he's like through the middle, what's your name? My name's Stephen, by the way. SSMOTN. Stephen, pleased to meet you, mate. But when Foden gets through the middle and he's got like a bit of space and he's got options ahead of him and he can dribble and run at people, he's just so much more joy in his game. And that's what you want to see, isn't it? You want to see Foden run at people, have fun, score goals, and all that kind of stuff. Guys, that's what I took from the game. Of course, I'll run through them very quickly again. Where are we? We saw Foden's central promise, man. Foden through the middle. Though not perfect, it was a tantalising vision of the future. Encourage it, Pep, because there's potential there. Mahrez, of course, truly back on form. Absolutely. Actual fullback width. Walker and Gomez overlapping. Gomez, by the way, my quick takes on Gomez. I thought he was honestly good. Let Gomez learn at Manchester City Football Club. He does not need to play 40 games. Remember Zinchenko? Like how little Zinchenko actually played at Manchester City when he was around the team initially. He didn't play for like half a season, a year and a half maybe, until eventually, by proxy of being around, he got a game because we needed someone to, and he stepped up after learning for a while. Let Gomez do the same thing, because he's got potential, he's got ability. Let him learn. No KDB and Erling, no problem. It shows that we aren't reliant, so maybe we need to realise that a little bit and mix up how we play every now and then. And finally, of course, what am I doing here? I'm pressing the wrong thing. Sorry. There we go. Football with intensity again. Guys, I like this comment. It said, hi, said, in chess, you have to make mistakes to learn. You can't be a great player without being adventurous and being afraid to make mistakes. Absolutely, mate. I agree. I think bravery, creativity, individualism, these are unique traits that make a player a player. I encourage it, nurture it, nourish it. Like, that is what makes them who they are. And we can have clones of each other, but these players need to be able to enjoy themselves in their football. Guys, I know I'll make some dinner. Thanks for watching this 5 Things Learned. If you want more chat about it, of course, go and watch the Fan View Live last night where I chatted to loads of Blues. The Fan View Live, of course, is open to Patreons and members. It's my way of chatting to some of you guys. Like Pete, for example, is a member. Thank you so much, Pete. Good stuff as always to you, Pete, as well. Oh, Guy, you missed it. Well, you can scroll back, Guy, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I chatted to Guy last night, of course, on the Fan View Live as well. Go and watch that if you want to. And, of course, check out the match reaction too. You're all beautiful. You're all wonderful. Catch you in a bit. Bye-bye. Like and subscribe. Get the subscribers on. I need 100 more. We can do it.